talk about it, how some Jedi just walked away from the Order. Uh, I know in the Clone Wars, at the very end of it, Anakin's apprentice walks away from the Order,
Yeah, no,
and she's now back in Star Wars Rebels. So I think that's very interesting.
yeah, no. The whole Star Wars universe is a phenomenal, mind-boggling, journey, if you will. That I think honestly most kids and kids at heart really resemble too, because it is the emotion of what happens when too much fear, too much hate takes over, and potentially what happens there. So,
Well, absolutely. What we see at the very end of uh, Revenge of the Sith is that everything that Anakin tried to prevent from happening actually happens by him embracing the dark side.
yeah. So
Although I will, before we get any further, I I'm probably one of those people who really didn't like the way Anakin was portrayed in that prequel trilogy, because it really did go off, and it felt like they went off in some ways neutered the character that was considered to be the greatest villain in cinematic history. And I'm not just saying this. This is actually, there's a list that out there put up by, I can't remember, the Academy of Movies or something.
yeah. No, see,
And they actually listed him as number one ahead of almost everyone else.
yeah, and we are actually we have mentioned a few birthdays today. I can't remember the name offhand, but the guy who played Darth Maul, it was actually his birthday
Ray
the
Park,
other day. Yeah, Ray
Parks,
Park. Thank you.
Just a couple of days
Yeah,
ago.
a couple days ago, it was his birthday. So he honestly, going into that, Darth Maul was one of my favorite villains.
Darth Maul was probably one of the best parts. Actually, I think for me, the Sith characters were,
Yeah.
probably the best parts of the prequel trilogy.
I believe they didn't do Darth Maul justice. I would love to see Darth Maul in at least one more movie, made into more of a main character.
And I think that's why they tried bringing them back in the Clone Wars series. It was just not. I don't know. I mean, I don't think George Lucas regrets getting rid of Darth Maul as quickly as he did. I mean, honestly, I'm kind of glad in some way that they did, because they brought in Christopher Lee to play Count Dooku, Dark Tyrannus.
But see, they could have easily had in the next episode, both of them.
But to see, that's the thing about the Sith, and the reason why that the First Order may not be Sith Lords, because according to the Sith, there was always had to be two, an apprentice and the master, and the reason for that was that when too many Sith got together, they actually self-destructed and began killing each other.
Which
so,
I would have loved to see that. Come on, Darth Maul versus Emperor Palpatine.
yeah, and the thing is, Palpatine was very smart. He always surrounded himself with Sith that seemed extremely powerful, but in the end would not be, any competition for him. Darth Maul would definitely not have been any competition for him.
See, and
Tyrannus, you can tell by how he how Count Dooku feels betrayed by Palpatine in Revenge of the Sith, that he didn't see it coming.
see, I argue. I actually believe Darth Maul would have had a chance to beat Palpatine.
Oh, not even close. I mean, come on, if he couldn't beat a Padawan like Obi-Wan Kenobi, there's no way he would have been able to beat.
That was pure luck.
I don't think so.
I believe so.
Yeah.
It was doomed from the start, because he cannot beat Obi-Wan Kenobi, who plays a huge part in the original trilogy. It was doomed from the start. They set up Darth Maul to fail.
Well, and here again, I mean, there's a couple characters that I know a lot of people absolutely loved. I mean, Boba Fett, and George Lucas went off and he stated that after Return of the Jedi and how popular Boba Fett became, that if he had known that, he never would have killed Boba Fett off. Now, if you go off and you read the comic books in Dark Empire, they actually reveal that Boba Fett didn't die. He actually managed to get out of the Sarlacc pit.
Yeah.
So whether or not he is alive in the new expanded universe is another question.
And that is actually a good question because, they are testing the limits of, well, pretty much everything. So
I feel kind of cheated, though, because there's a couple of characters from the expanded universe I really would have loved for them to see. The one that sticks out to mind for me the most is actually the woman who eventually became Luke Skywalker's wife in the books, Mara Jade, who was just a badass. It used to be the Emperor's... She was, I guess you could say, his secret apprentice, called actually referred to by codename the Emperor's Hand.
Yeah, no, and I completely agree. So, there's a few characters that I wish they had killed off a lot sooner than they had. Jar Jar Binks.
Well, the thing is, I was satisfied with how the progression or lack thereof of Jar Jar Binks in the prequel trilogy. And the first movie, he's, a big character. And, and then we get to Attack of the Clones, and he only has a couple lines. And then in Revenge of the Sith, he actually has no lines and is only seen in the background.
Thank God.
And incidentally, the actor who actually played Jar Jar Binks, it was his birthday a couple days ago as well.
He probably doesn't want to be remembered for being Jar Jar Binks.
I don't know, George Lucas apparently has stated that, one of his missions in life is to make people love Jar Jar Binks.
That mission will never be fulfilled.
There are bound to be some. For those people who are big WWE fans and who have the WWE Network, Corey Graves actually went to the Star Wars Celebration from earlier this year, and he actually went looking for Jar Jar Binks fans. And
couldn't find any.
He eventually did, but...
Were they paid by Disney?
I have no idea, but, just the way they played it out, it was like trying to find a needle in a haystack. To find someone who will actually admit to liking Jar Jar Binks. Now, Jar Jar Binks, he was in those movies strictly for the little kids.
See, I still like the most offensive character in Star Wars, and that is R2-D2. They bleeped out every single word. Yeah, you can't get any better. He's the perfect me. Except for I don't get bleeped out. I'm uncensored, which kind of makes me worse.
No kidding.
So yeah, Star Wars. We finally got our Star Wars.
Yeah, we definitely got the Star Wars. I feel kind of satisfied off this one.
I don't.
Now, we can probably go a little bit further. And this is all just, going back to it and how, the story that J.J. Abrams is going off and saying that, the First Order is not the Sith.
Yeah, which, either way, Star Wars is back. I don't care what storyline they do. Star Wars is back as long as they do a good movie, they do justice by it, and they do not bring back any Jar Jar Bink-related characters. God help me if they bring back that squealer. So yeah. Don't really have much.
No, you're not gonna find anything else on.
We're just gonna
try to read my notes, and it's just a bunch of chicken scratch.
You know what? That's fine. That's fine. What would you really like to see for Star Wars?
Oh, I don't know. First and foremost, I just want to see a really good movie. Honestly, at this point, all I really want is to be able to go in there, sit back, and smile the entire time.
See, I don't want smiling the entire time. That just seems forced. I want grimacing. I want shaking. I want shivering. I want smiling. I want screaming. I want yelling. I want crying.
I just want to go on there and just bask in the glow of Star Wars.
I've already decided I'm going to go to the Star Wars premiere dressed as Jar Jar Binks just so people have something to punch if it doesn't turn out good.
No kidding.
And we're going to dress your son up as Yoda.
He does have a Yoda costume. I don't know if he can fit it anymore.
We will make it fit. I will cut it open and I will stick pointy ears on him and a tail. We are going to add a tail.
Yoda doesn't have a tail.
Creative freedoms.
How dare you?
I know. How dare I to be original?
No kidding.
So we're going to start wrapping this up.
Absolutely.
Officially.
Officially.
We added music. Music!
Yeah, this is actually kind of an interesting episode. I just felt like, here we are. We've actually started experimenting with this. This actually was suggested to us.
Yes. And I have continuously failed to do anything with it.
Well, it's just, I was trying to find music that we don't have to go off and pay for.
Yes.
And so both the songs that we used tonight were actually off a site where people just post music, for people to use any way they like.
Yeah, but anyways, you can follow myself on Twitter at Real CAPT Fizz, so at Real Captain Fizz. I tongue-tied.
Yeah, I think you actually put a T in there.
At Real
CAPT.
Oh, yeah. Whatever.
Fizz, Real Captain Fizz. You can follow me at That Mask Guy. You also can follow us on the show on Twitter as well, at Fizz Masked Show. We are on Facebook. We're starting to try to come up with some more content for the Facebook page. Actually trying to get it going again. We're somewhat on YouTube. You can go back and listen to many of our old episodes on YouTube.
The rest will be following very shortly when I am no longer lazy. This show takes a lot of energy.
Exactly. And, you can also go back and see some of our old episodes and some old content on Tumblr as well. It just happens that, with Tumblr is one of my things, and just with a job that I started about a month ago, my energies have been, towards other things. So I apologize. Like sleep, and trying to actually find some time to spend with my son.
I bet he loves it.
Absolutely.
Who are you?
No, it's I come in the door and down there!
Okay, well, so follow us on Twitter, follow us on YouTube, follow us...
Like us on,
Facebook,
YouTube and on Facebook.
And subscribe.
And subscribe, exactly.
The little subscribe button on the bottom.
Please, we're begging you on our knees, give us some love.
And don't forget, we love feedback. We have our email on the Spreaker page. Type it in, send us an email. If you like what you hear, let us know. If you want to hear something else, let us know. Give us some love.
Give us some love. Give us, if you guys want to go off, and if you guys have got some music that you want us to put on here, and this has to be original music. We're not going to go off and start playing stuff like the Rolling Stones, or I don't know,
anything with words.
Anything with words. If it's something that you originally came up with, we will go off. We will do it here on the show, and we will go off and plug you.
We will not plug you in, though.
So you know what? We gotta get going. So, this actually feels apropos considering the conversation we've had. So, in the meantime and in between time, good night, God bless, and may the Force be with you.
And as always, stay frosty, my people. Good night, everyone.
Good night.